You see, you've passed it to me with zero preparation here this week, but yeah, Baku is one that's notorious in league race, and I think for the incidents, hopefully, we'll have a cleaner race here this week than we did in Tier 2 here last week, but it will definitely be an interesting session and weekend in general, this one. It's a track that does promote overtaking despite the street circuit nature, but also provides that chaos. So, should be an interesting one, hopefully. Yeah, it's certainly up there with the better ones, certainly in terms of the racing value. Going around on the track, first man to be set a lap time will be Centrix in the Haas. He's coming onto the back straight at the moment on his out lap, so we'll keep an eye on him riding on for the first lap of the session. But this is the particular part of the circuit where the overtaking is so common. This back straight, one of the longest straights in F1, uh, with just, DRS all the way down. It's perfect play stop, an opportunity to overtake into turn one. As you see a tyre there, I think that might be where Elliott retired from this section. As Nutomatic as well, and the other Haas seems to have crashed out on what looks to be the back straight there, going through the fast sweeping left-right section. So we'll see if we can spot that with Craig Conley, but I think the car might have moved by the time he gets there. Yeah, it has, but yeah, unfortunate break there for Nutomatic in the second Haas. They'll be now relying on Centrix for a good lap time. But that's the nature of Baku.
Technical feedback there, Ultra Titan. Looks like we got it sorted out. For some reason, it's changed my microphone input in Streamlabs, so we should be good to go now. Sorry about that.
Can we hear both of those? I'm assuming so.
Yeah,
yes, I just heard myself.
Yeah.
I just unfortunately heard myself.
I just noticed that the equalizer wasn't there. Alright, let's see who we got coming around for a lap. We've got Michael Louis on an out lap.
We've got Centrix back on the back straight at the moment. He'll be first man to set a lap time. Manages to navigate the fast left-right through turns 18 and 19 successfully, unlike his teammate moments before. He'll open up the DRS, continue this long straight down to the line. First lap time of the day is 1:40.669, so Centrix setting the pace. There's that tyre yet again at turn one. And yeah, the Haas on with the fastest lap so far, and Mallard second across the line with just about 1.5 seconds off the pace.
Comes Arrow in the Ferrari. He's looking for a time as well. Looks like it'll be the fourth time. A little off the pace.
Goes P2 there, so Centrix's early lap time proving to be the early pace so far, as Arrow just goes straight on at turn one to sort himself out. Next up across the line division, I think that was, as Michael Louis has crashed out. Where's that? Just after turn two. See if he's still there when Craig gets there. Yet again, the car's disappeared, but looks like he just maybe lost traction on the exit of turn two, I'd assume.
Looks like he might have got into that outside wall, judging by where the dot was on the map.
Yeah, Automatic coming over his race engineer, saying he might cry. First he did that in Tier 2, then he's done the exact same thing again in Tier 1, so repeating the same mistake through the high-speed final sector, and it's cost him yet again in qualifying. Thankfully, this qualifying here for Tier 1 today, a lot drier than it was Tier 2. We saw a very chaotic qualifying session there. Next man up to the line and last man to set a time of the remaining runners will be Ultra Titan in the Alfa Romeo. The sole Alfa Romeo here today stays nice and tight to the pit wall as he comes up to the line, sets a 1:41.7 that puts him into P4. So Centric's definitely here with the early pace, over a second, well, just under, sorry, a second clear of JG in P2.
Fair to mention the time lapse between Arrow and Ultra Titan there. Look at that time. Very, very close together, those two.
Incredibly close between those two. So only 9 runners remaining in this session because of the 3 early retirees. We had Elliott do what seemed like crash into the pit wall on exit based on where the tyre is at turn 1. We've had an automatic crashing in the high-speed final sector and Michael Lewis seemingly losing traction out of turn 2. So 3 victims already to the Baku streets. And everyone seemingly coming into the pits for a fresh set of tyres as the clock ticks down to about 11 minutes to go in this session.
We go on board with JG as he slides into the pit wall. Luckily, the car seems to be okay. That was a big slide. Lost the nose cone on entry. Well, with the shortened grid, it should leave a little more space on the track for people to maneuver. Hopefully that will cut down on the safety cars.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll make it certainly easier for people to find a spot during qualifying to set their fast laps certainly towards the end of the session. It does also mean that if you finish the race, you're going to score points tonight. Only 12 runners so far, assuming no one from the tentative list joins during quali, but yeah, only 12 people so far and points down to P16, so everyone is guaranteed points by just finishing today.
Decent points too, 12 offers quite a bit. Craig, you can't hear me? I can hear me.
I can't hear the text.
Check, check. 1, 2. I can see my equalizer bar lighting up, so I know I'm getting audio. Okay. How's that? Scoot a little closer to the mic. That better?
That sounds better to me.
Okay. Sorry, I was
I've,
lounging.
I've not got the stream volume on at the moment, but it sounds better in the party at least.
Alright.
We got Centrix just crashed out there. Another yellow flag. I think that might be another victim to the pit exit as well, based on where that yellow flag was. Our current provisional pole man not going to be setting another time in this session, so it's now down to the other remaining 8 drivers in this session. Can they close that 9/10 gap to our current man at the top of the timing sheet?
I think with a little head down driving, that's doable. They're not too far off the pace.
The first man who'll be setting a second lap time looks like it's going to be the McLaren of division by the looks of it. Yeah, he'll be the next man, but I think we stick on board with Arrow for his lap. Why not? Let's watch him through his qualifying lap as he heads through. On my screen at least, there's a little collection of tyres at turn 1. I don't think that's visible on the stream itself, but there's a lovely little group of people that have crashed out there as we see Arrow coming out of turn 2, opening the DRS for yet another long straight here at Baku. He's got a Mercedes just up ahead of him who I believe is on a lap, so there'll be no getting out of the way for that Mercedes. So Arrow so far keeping it nice and clean through the largely 90-degree corners of Sector 1. He's slightly up on his personal best so far, but only by about half a tenth, so it's definitely time that is gainable as we come towards the technical Sector 2. Going hard on the brakes into turn 7, riding the curb, using as much of the track as possible as we now head down into the tight castle section, almost clipping the walls on either side as you go through there, carrying as much speed as possible, using all the track and too much track. In Arrow's case, they're just going over that white outside line, and he will back off and go again, I believe.
Yeah.
It's a tough break there for the Ferrari. Looked a half-decent lap. But he is well and truly backed off of that one, as we see Division has gone up into P2 with a 141.4. I get a clip of those tyres at turn 1, because that's definitely a funny sight on my end. It's a shame that I don't think it's showing on yours.
Yeah, I had them in the back straight. Yeah, there they are.
So we've both got little collections of tyres for ourselves. There's about 3 of them currently just off the apex at turn 1 at the moment. So definitely a funny sight there. Next man up to the line looks like it's gonna be, yeah, JG. Next one on a lap. I think Arrow. Yeah, Arrow's gonna go again by the looks of it, but he doesn't have much battery left, so not sure how much of an improvement we'll see from the Ferrari there. But JG, next man on a lap. He comes into the hard braking zone at turn 15. We saw controversial scenes with Sebastian Vettel and Lewis Hamilton heading down that hill a few years ago. But hopefully no such drama for the Mercedes and Ferrari drivers tonight. Them along with McLaren are the only teams that have both their drivers in this race today. Oh, sorry, Haas as well. Didn't spot them. Missing quite a few drivers. JG goes P2 with a 141.2. So an improvement for him, but still half a second off our current provisional pole time set by Centrix.
There you go. Y'all should be able to see the tire there in the final straight.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see, that's going to be Mallard. It looks like Division is invalid, so Mallard will be our next time. He's got a 42.080. See how he comes through here.
Coming up to the line with the Ferrari. Crosses it and improves by half a tenth, stays P8 to 42.030. So not quite able to make it into the 41s just yet, but he is only, well, 0.3 of a second would catch him up to his teammate Arrow in P4, so it's definitely a lot of spaces to be gained by Mallard with a slight improvement on his lap if he gets a time for one more run.
We'll see Arrow's going to dive into the pits, get kitted up for one last stint before the buzzer. Looks like Conley and Mallard, the lone men on the track. No, JG's down there as well, the lower end of the screen.
Yeah, JG, I believe, is on an in-lap at the moment. Conley, not so sure. I think he's got very little battery left by the looks of it, but not too sure if this is a flying lap he's on or not.
Yeah, you see the light flashing there. He's completely out of battery. I think he's going to be on an in.
Yep, there is a yellow flag in sector 3 at the moment. That's purely for JG running out of fuel coming down the pit straight. That incident has been nice and cleared. We got Division heading out with just under 4 minutes to go, so he's going to be the first of our final runners, I believe. And he'll be looking to try and improve on a 141.4 that currently sits him on the second row of the grid alongside the Ferrari of Arrow. And well, we know Division has the pace.
Oh, big curb hop there coming out of the exit.
Yeah, thankfully it's only an out lap. He definitely won't want to be repeating that on his hot lap, because that will cost you a lot of time. Those sort of sausage curbs in effect are very, very tough on the cars if they ride them. Lose a lot of traction coming out of those corners.
Yeah, we saw the back end there as he clipped it with the right rear, just launched the rear end of the car into the air and unsettled him. He was able to hang on to it, keep it out of the wall.
Yeah, I've seen a few drivers on the team radios moaning about the traction actually around here, saying that it's not very good whatsoever. So it'd be interesting to see if I say we ride on board with Division for this lap and check out how he goes on, given he is the only man out on track at the moment that's about to complete or start a lap.
Yeah, you see him put the power down there out of the S's. He's getting ready to start this stint now.
DRS open. He's going to come across the line and start his lap. Turn 1, heavy braking zone. Got to try and get as close to the apex as he can and use all the track on the exit, keeping it out of the wall. Heavy braking again into the second right-hand turn at turn 2. Touches the curb, gets the power down, but loses the rear end slightly, just touching that inside curb, unsettling the rear of the car as he heads down the long back straight down towards turn 3. Another left hand
Oh,
90-degree corner, taps the inside wall, and that's going to be his lap done there.
Hate to see it. Baku's corner
Would
strike
not be
again.
surprised if we see him go for another one after this, because he has time to get around. It's just whether he has the fuel in the car to do so, but he's certainly saving up his battery. I can see that ticking up, so won't be surprised if we see another run from the McLaren here. His McLaren teammate Craig Conley calling it quits. He's happy with a current P6, although he does have Ollie and Mallard behind him and very close behind.
Ultra tight fixing to start his last lap.
Yeah, Ultra Titan, next man on the lap. Or next man's starting his lap, should we say. Also got, I think the next man coming across on an actual flying lap will be Arrow, but he's only coming up to the castle section at the moment, so you've got plenty of time before he turns up. There are some localised yellows at the start of Sector 3, that's just Division, giving himself as much room as possible to try to charge up the battery. Wait, it hasn't really recharged from it. It looks only about half full on his screen, so might be in a bit of bother for this flying lap here, the McLaren.
Ultra Titan taking Alfa Romeo to the limits there. Jumps that sausage curve. Really fights the wheels to keep it out of the left wall. There's a lot of momentum through there. He's really pushing the car to its limit.
Ultra Titan currently about a tenth of a second up on his personal best. That would be enough to get him up into P4 as it stands. The man he's fighting for P4, Arrow, is coming up towards the line at the moment, so we'll keep an eye on the timing beam for his lap time. He improves to P2 with a 41 dead. So good improvement there by the Ferrari, getting himself onto the front row, but not quite able to get close to the Haas driver of Centrix. He was well on the pace for Tier 2, picking up a P2 last week around this track, losing out to Ritzy. And I'm sure with Cookie absent today from the Tier 1 grid, he'll be hoping to go one better and pick up a win. But we're still on board with Ultra Titan, and he's backing out.
Yeah, I don't think he's happy with that one. I think he's going to wait till right at the buzzer. No, he is going to bring
checkered
it in.
flag's fallen, so
yeah, he's going to bring it in.
I'm not sure if there was a mistake on his lap that he wasn't happy with. I'm not too sure, but Ultra Titan saying that P5 is good enough.
That's a big drift by Mallard coming down the hill. He's carrying a lot of momentum into this last section.
Yeah, Mallard, next man up to the line, is P8 at the moment, but only about a tenth and a half away from P7 of Ollie, and only 2 tenths off Craig Conley. Can he improve? He doesn't. He's 7 tenths off, and he stays in P8, so the Ferrari, they're going to be on the 4th row of the grid as across the line came Ollie there to go P3 with a 41-1. Big improvement there from the Mercedes driver. Gets himself alongside his teammate on row 2. But JG will be the next man up to the line, but he has invalidated, so he won't improve. Arrow, but he's 4 seconds down on his laps and pulls into the pit. So there is your qualifying. The man on pole hasn't had to do anything for the last 6 minutes. Centrix bagging himself pole position for the Haas with Arrow alongside, about 3, nearly 4 tenths back in P2.
Ultra Titan on the team radio saying that he was 3 tenths down, no point in completing it. So he was happy with P5. Ended up being P6 after Ollie jumps. So that's it. That's your grid for today.
Yeah, then we can go through that grid while we wait for the drivers to pull into the pits. Centrix on pole, as we say, Arrow alongside on that front row. Then we have an all Mercedes second row of Ollie heading his teammate JG by a tenth and a bit. Then Division, the lead McLaren on row 3 with Ultra Titan in P6, Craig Conley in P7, Mallard P8, and Dubsy completes your lap times in P9 with Nutomatic, Elliott, and Michael Louis failing to complete a time after all of them crashing out during the session.
All right. In just about 20 seconds, we're going to go racing in Baku.
Seems we saw 5 drivers there DNF in that session because of terminal damage. Just looked at the race director. Elliott, Nutomatic, Michael Louis, Dubsy, and Centrix all DNF with terminal damage in that session. I think a couple of those were on the pit exit, but definitely something to keep an eye on in this race. Only 12 drivers, as we say. It's a small grid tonight, and quite a mixed up grid, as Luxury says in the chat.
Yeah, a lot of mixed skill there. Should be an interesting race. Hope everybody can keep it out of the walls.
We wait a couple of minutes here for the drivers to sort out their strategies, sort everything out. It looks from our view and what we were told earlier on in the stream that it's going to be a dry race. It certainly seems that for once the race directors and the game has been accurate on that.
Yeah, we've had a few races this season where the weather took a drastic change than what was forecast, and it's caused some interesting races throughout the season.
Yeah, it certainly seems that's one of the many glitches that the F1 game has picked up this year.
Glitches are just an exciting surprise. adds a little spice to the race weekend. All right, looks like we got 2 minutes to ready up. 2 minutes to ready up. Race director saying everybody off the grid. Seems Division on the team radio was asking if he could get a 2-minute head start.
We'll ask you while we wait for your early predictions, AJ, because this is the first race that we've covered in a while where there's been no cookie. So for once, we can say between us a different driver that might win.
My hat tip goes to Ultra Titan. Consistency is key here at Baku, and he's shown that he can hold it together under the pressure.
I think Titan will definitely be up there. For sake of difference, I think I'm going back to our Polman Centric. So he got that P2 in Tier 2 last week. I think he'll be able to go one better here today. But as he says, this race in particular is all down to consistency. You could be as quick as you like, but one slight mistake going through the castle section or running too wide at the final fast right-hander of turn 19 and your race can be over in a flash. It doesn't matter how quick you are, if you don't keep it out the wall, you're gonna suffer around this track in particular. It's one of the longest circuits on the calendar as well, 6 kilometer length, so it's certainly one. If you pick up damage early in the lap, you've got a long way to go back to the pits.
Yeah, a long, difficult way to go.
Yes, exactly. Zampa in the chat predicting a JG win from P4, I believe JG was, wasn't he? So,
Alright,
here we go.
Lights are up. And we have 5 lights in Baku. And racing. We are racing. Let's go, guys.
A decent start there from Centrix. He'll lead the pack through turn 1 unchallenged as Ollie gets himself up into P2 from the second row of the grid. Brilliant start there by the Mercedes Arrow, dropping down to P3. Elsewhere behind them, we see Michael Lewis made a fantastic start. He's already up 3 places into P9. Nutsamatic dropping back a couple to the back of the grid. Not the start he will have been
He
hoping
hit
for.
the runoff in turn 2. Looks like he just missed the turn. I don't know if he had somebody inside him or what, but he's doing the back and forth wiggle, trying to get the car turned around. And he's back pointed the right way. Tough break for Haas today.
Yeah, Haas really getting 2 extremes, one leading the way and almost, well, over a second clear already, and one at the back of the pack, almost a pit stop behind. But very good start by Centrix. He leads the way as we come up to the castle section for the first time, flying through there. The Haas, brilliant speed, brilliant camera angle as well to show the speed through that tough and tight section. Further back, we do have a retirement. Ollie's gone off at the castle.
It's fair shout. There was a little bit of chatter on the grid there about Haas putting in a PB and J. I don't think that's what the team meant.
Yeah, we'll see if we're right on board with Nutsamatic. You see, yeah, Ollie's just gone straight on into that wall, lost the right front tyre.
So and VSC, so we will go back racing.
Yeah, VSC deployed. Unfortunately for Nutsamatic, it won't be a full course caution. And the safety car out, it'll just be the virtual safety car. Be interested to see if we see any pit stops on lap 1. I doubt it unless people have damage. But as far as things go for our leaders, absolutely perfect start, you've got to say, from Centrix and Ollie. They've broken away from the pack, 2.5 seconds back from Ollie to Arrow in P3, and that's exactly what the Mercedes will have been hoping for. Michael Louis is into the pit lane. It'd be interesting to see if there's any front wing change there.
No, we've got another incident. VSC is back out. I thought we went green. I guess we didn't.
No, and Michael Louis does change the front wing there. So damage from the Aston Martin on lap 1. Looking at the race director, there's no warnings for the Aston Martin, or, well, there's nothing involving the Aston Martin on the race director. So not too sure what that's for.
Maybe a
little damage.
Tap. Oh, the Haas also getting a nose cone. Automatic is out with a fresh wing on the front. Almost hits the pit exit. That was very close. Spun the wheels up, almost got into the wall there. He's going to the hards. He's going to try to take those all the way.
And in the process of looking at the race director, my game has glitched itself, so I'm going to have to back out. If you could invite me back in. It's decided to get the race director stuck on my screen, which is not ideal.
Yep, that happened to me a few weeks ago.
Yeah. What a brilliant, perfectly developed game. But yeah, we have gone green on the racing while we just get myself back in the lobby.
There you go, should have it in.
Thank you very much.
Centrix is going to set the fast lap 151.2 as he comes into turn 2. DRS has been re-enabled. We're back racing. Lap 3. Quite the battle back here with Arrow and Ultra Titan. Arrow leading the Alfa Romeo right now, but you can see these guys are under attack. Like Ultra Titan diving back and forth, looking for a way through.
Yeah, interestingly with Arrow, he's dropped back through his start in P2. He's dropped back behind both Mercedes so far. Seems to be struggling on those medium tyres a bit more in comparison to the Brackley-based team. And Ultra Titan seemingly getting real success out of those hard tyres as well, with P5 hard tyres keeping up. Oh, Centrix is out. Castle section.
Oh,
just as I loaded in, I saw it the second I joined, and that's what we were on about earlier, the consistency. You can be as quick as you like, but if you're not consistent, it doesn't help. And, well, as Centrix says on the team radio, well, he is out, and now we have a Mercedes 1-2. That's exactly what they will have been hoping for. Haas having a nightmare of a day, virtual safety car back out, but Centrix took way too much speed into that corner. Not sure if he hit the inside wall. I didn't quite see it, but goes straight on and basically replicates what the Williams of Elliott did a couple of
Looks
laps before.
looks like he hit the right front on the entry wall, the far entry wall there, as he was trying to make the left-hander. He drug that right side into the wall, tore the wheel off, and ended the race day.
Yeah, I saw the on board with it. When it uploads, I'll try and send you the clip for it.
All right, now we got a couple of people in the pits. We got JG is coming in, Ultra Titan is coming in. It is a full safety car now, so everybody's gonna get some time to get caught up. All right,
Full
so
safety car, and crucially, this may well have played into JG Titan and Division's hands quite well there, the people that have pitted, because crucially, Ollie has been caught by the safety car. So he's not going to get the benefit of being ahead of the safety car and being able to go around at full pace. So he will not be able to make a pit stop and gain that advantage now.
all right,
It's definitely an interesting call there from the Mercedes, splitting the strategies of their two drivers.
yeah, JG decided to go
See,
with the hard compound, Ultra Titan and Division, both with the mediums.
yeah,
Softs for
Ultra
Michael
Titan
Louis.
was on the hards, so it's an interesting call from him to hit at this stage of the race, because I highly doubt a set of mediums is going to last 22 laps. So he almost certainly will have to pit again, whereas JG, on those hard tyres, if he's careful, could potentially take those to the end.
Yeah, I think Ultra Titan's banking on another safety car late in the race to swap again to the softs. That would be my guess. We've already seen two VSCs in a safety car into lap 4.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's banking on a late safety car so that he can get those softs on late in the race and really put the power down.
Yeah, Centric saying on the team radio that he did tap the inside wall. It shouldn't have even taken his tyre off. It was literally just a tap. He said it didn't even shear it off. It literally disappeared on his screen. So lost the front left tyre, and that just carried him into the wall on the outside as well, taking off the right side as well. And well, our race leader and pole sitter out of this race on lap 3. Now, coming towards the end of lap 4 behind the safety car, we'll do probably one more safety car lap to allow two backmarkers of Michael Louis and Nutomatic to catch up. Nutomatic not pitting, he's using this to be able to catch up to the safety car pack on his set of hards. Interestingly, Michael Louis did pit and is strapped on a set of softs. So I guess Ultra Titan will be watching Michael Louis' progress keenly when the safety car comes in, just to see how long those softs last on the Aston Martin. So we see a few more cars coming into the pits, Dubsy and Division coming in. Division, interestingly, pitting off a fresh set of mediums. Oh, he has wing damage. So I wonder whether they didn't, the team, there was a bit of a miscommunication maybe there between driver and team, and they didn't replace the front wing first time around.
Yeah, he's going to keep those 3-lap mediums, come out with a fresh nose cone. Dubsy's opted for the hards. He's going to look for the one stop, I believe.
Yeah, so Division swapping back to this set of mediums he started this race on, so he will have to pit again in this one. He's used what says 3 sets of mediums. It is just a 2. He's just gone back to his previous set. But yeah, I'm wondering there if there was perhaps he didn't change the setting, or the game decided that there wasn't enough damage to the front wing for it to be replaced, and that chucks him to the back of the pack. But yeah, interesting from Dubsy, going for that hard tyre, see if he can last until the end of the race as well. And it means that your front runners of Ollie, Arrow, and Mallard yet to pit. As is Craig Conley in P6 as well. Oh, Division's out. He's lost the rear end coming out of the castle section. Just put the power down too quickly. And on those scrub mediums, he just loses the rear end, and that is the end of the McLaren driver. We're down to 9 here. 3 drivers out in the first 5 laps.
Baku, the battle of attrition. Safety car in this lap. We're going green.
Yeah, safety car is in despite the Vision's crash just about 10-15 seconds before the safety cars decided the circuit is safe. And with 9 drivers to go after just a fifth of this race, well, if we continue at this rate, we're not actually going to have enough drivers to finish the race.
If you're the Mercedes, you look behind you and you've got two very hungry Ferraris bobbing and weaving behind him. He's going to need a good start here to get away from these guys because they are going to work together to try to overtake that Mercedes. We're looking over the rear wing and all you can see is two very fast red cars waiting to get their chance at the leader.
Yeah, Ollie controlling the pace at the moment on the safety car restart, and it's worth looking at who is in P4 as he launches it here and gets a decent start, about half a second clear of the Ferrari behind him, but he'll be hoping that his teammate can make some progress, but instead the very opposite is going to happen as you see Ultra Titan dive it down the inside. Isn't quite able to get the move done though. He comes out of the corner still in P5, but JG will be wanting to keep on the back of these medium runners for as long as possible. He knows that the front three are yet to pit. They have to make a pit stop. And Ultra Titan, chances are he'll be making another one later on as we see JG going up the inside of Mallard. He has to take the escape road, Mallard, in the Ferrari. And that's JG up into P3. I don't believe there was contact between the Ferrari and the Mercedes. I think it was more just he got spooked going into turn 3 and just took to the escape road, maybe misjudging the braking, but perfect start. If you are Ollie, that's one less Ferrari in his rear view mirrors.
Kind of right in the middle of the pack here, watching Ultra Titan as they come through the castle.
Oh, Nutomatics out.
And that's going to be another safety car.
We just can't get going here. Nutomatic, it looked like he perhaps missed his braking point. Or
like he went straight into the far wall out of that right-hander. You can see the nose coming.
Yeah, just straight on into turn 7, and it was enough damage to retire the car. We are down to 8 now. That's our 4th driver out already. And as you say, another safety car, so that's a lifesaver there for Craig Conley and Michael Louis, because they pitted as the safety car came in. I'm not sure if there was a bit of contact between the two of them or something, but
Nutomatic on the team radio says he tried to push before the tires were warm. He said they were just too cold and wouldn't hook. F in the chat.
Division saying that his race can go in the most stupid highlights ever. Clipped it too, barely touched the throttle into the wall, barely touched the wall, dead. So that's the end of his race today. A very tough break for the McLaren man. As we see Arrow now making his pit stop on lap 5. Ollie, interestingly, Ollie's still not coming in, so still leading the way on that initial set of mediums. Under this second safety car, Arrow strapping on a fresh set of hards. Tried to keep an eye on Mallard there. Yeah, no front wing change.
He went to the hard tires as well. Conley pitted at the restart of the safety car, so that's paying off for him. He's able to move up one position.
Yeah, Michael Louis tried to beat Mallard out there, but wasn't quite able to get across the safety car line before him, I don't believe.
When Mallard goes through the runoff, he's into the runoff. So
yeah, caught tyres.
Yeah, Michael Louis is going to go ahead, so that actually.
Yeah, caught tyres on that Ferrari. It seems to have, I wonder if that was what sent him off at turn 3 as well then. Because obviously the tyres are maybe not quite up to temperature on the safety car restart, and if that's the second braking point and second escape road that he's had to take.
Yeah, I don't think those hards are very good here. I think that they're taking too long to heat up. It's getting real hard to get the car slowed down.
Yeah, it's a problem I know was common around Baku. I'd spent a little while testing setups before the race last week because I noticed the tyre temps were just struggling. So I think it's definitely a setup sort of thing where if you get the right setup or a setup you're at least comfortable with, it is doable on the hards, but then definitely not the kindest tyre around this Baku street circuit. But we're down to 8, lap 7 of 26. I think we'll see one more lap under the safety car to allow Michael Louis and Mallard to catch the back of the pack, but it is definitely a race of attrition here today, as we've said. Division's actually posted his onboard in the Discord chat, AJ, if you want to get it up during this safety car.
Yeah, I'm working that.
If you... So we'll see what happened to Division. And when my clip comes up as well, I'll post my point of view of the incidents I've seen so far in the chat as well, because we will be under safety car for one more lap.
It's going to take a little work to get that up because he posted it in Discord, so bear with me here.
Would it be easier if I sent you my clips over Xbox instead of Discord?
Yes, that would be.
I'll send them to you on there instead. So I've got a lovely clip of some tyres during qualifying, but the main one we want to see is that Centrix incident. So we're running around behind the safety car at the moment. It is a Mercedes 1-2, Ollie leading the way from JG. Differing strategies for the Mercedes, the lead driver Ollie on a 7-lap old set of mediums compared to 4-lap old hards on JG. Ultra Titan, your man that you predicted for the win, sitting pretty in P3 at the moment on a set of medium tyres.
I have to do a little change in here. Bear with me, folks. Nope, that's not the screen we want to share. Alright. It's being a pain. Bear with me. Let's see.
So I have sent those clips to you on Xbox and post them in the Discord, whichever ends up being easier for you. But we're about to go racing once again. It'll be Ollie controlling the pace once more as well, and on this safety car restart, he'll be hoping this time though to work together, I'm sure, with his teammates who's just behind him. Yes, he'll want to not be overtaken by him, but this is a brilliant opportunity for the Mercedes drivers to score a big haul of points today. They are currently sitting second in the constructors, but they're only 50 points behind the Red Bulls, and there are no Red Bulls here today, so we could see a change at the top of the constructors as he floors it. Ollie, he gets a good restart, half a second ahead of his teammate. He will hold the lead into turn one, with JG holding off the Alfa Romeo of Ultra Titan as well, who did have a think about a move. But so far, as you were after the safety car restart, except for Mallard, I believe, gained a place ahead of the McLaren of Craig Conley. So the Ferrari's trying to charge back to the front, but they have the Alfa Romeo of Titan to deal with first. Oh, we've got a spinner in the background. Craig Conley.
Looks like it's going to be Conley back there. Looks like he kept it out of the wall.
Yeah, unlucky there from Conley. Just, I have a feeling it's going to be another case of the loss of traction there rather than contact, but that drops him to the back of the pack. But thankfully, by the looks of it, no damage, and he hasn't lost too much time. He's only 2 seconds off the back of Michael Lewis, so hopefully still be able to catch back up to the pack. Still good points as well on offer, of course. The top 8 will all be scoring points, as would the top 12 had they all still been here.
Looks like a little bit of team orders from Mercedes. Ollie pulls to the left and lets JG through. Oh, and Ollie bounces off the wall. Ultra Titan's going to go down the left side.
Yeah, that's backfired on the Mercedes there. Interesting use of team orders. JG is the man leading the way in the driver's standings for them, but honestly a bit confused by that move by them, because Ollie is in a direct fight to try and catch Ultra Titan in the driver's standings. You would have thought. I mean, it's near impossible that JG's going to catch Cookie, even with the win today.
Oh.
He will struggle. As you see, actually, Ollie into the pits now. So
Yeah, he made
I'll
a
let you know if there's.
pretty hard impact into the wall there. I think the getting out of his racing line to make that through maybe got him out of rhythm. It looks like when he got the braking zone, he slid a little and slammed the right side of the car into the exterior wall.
Yeah, interestingly, no front wing change. I've just watched the pit stop there from Mercedes. It was a decent stop, but yeah, no front wing change on that Mercedes. So that is purely a tactical decision. And it's one that honestly just confuses me. I'm not too sure what the move was there by the Mercedes. It seems a bit of a Ferrari strategy, if anything, of ballsing up a little bit. But hopefully, for Ollie's sake, it isn't gonna hurt his race. Come the end of it, he's out on a fresh set of hards that should last him to the end, and he'll be hoping for the other drivers having to make a pit stop or there being another safety car in this race. But out the front, JG leads 1.5 seconds ahead of Ultra Titan, and he's going to be pushing those hard tyres and trying to stretch that advantage as much as he can behind him. Ultra Titan has Arrow within 1 second at the moment, so keep an eye on that gap when the DRS gets enabled to see if it stays the same.
Yeah, I was taking a look at him that last lap. It looks like Ultra Titan might be running a little bit more downforce. Ferrari seems to be quicker in the straight line, but Ultra Titan's making that time back up in Sector 2 when they get into those curvy turns.
And we'll see how much evidence there is of that going down this back straight, because we expect that gap to come down a bit between the Ferrari and the Alfa Romeo, and indeed it is. I'm looking at Arrow at the moment. From my point of view, from yours, we're looking over the back of Ultra Titan's car. You can see the gap come down a little bit, but more importantly, Arrow was not dumping any battery down that straight, and that gap came down by a couple of tenths. So I think you're right on that one, AJ. He's definitely running a higher downforce setup than the man in front of him.
Yeah, and you can watch them here as they get into Sector 2. Ultra Titan makes that time right back up as they get into the corners.
Yeah, and once again, Arrow closing the gap down, not using any battery there. And it's certainly helping him, but it's at this point, like you say, when we reach the start, the Titan Technicals Sector 2, that he's no doubt going to lose some time, and immediately losing a couple of attempts through turns 5 and 6 at the start of Sector 2, and Titan, he skids his way through the corner there.
Big drift by
Yeah,
Titan
Tokyo
there.
drifting his way through the Baku streets. Does lose him a little bit of time, but not too much to affect his race. Arrow's still half a second behind. They have gapped the other Ferrari though, and Mallard. He's got a 2-second gap behind between him and his teammate Arrow in third place. Arrow's certainly the pace setter at the moment of the Ferrari. He's going a little bit deep into turn 15 up, but keeping it out of the wall. But that has cost him. He's now over a second behind Ultra Titan.
Looks
And he'll
like
have
that,
to work hard to close that gap.
Might work out. JG pulling 2 seconds now.
JG definitely got the pace around this track. It's just how long can he make those hard tyres last, and similarly, how long can Ultra Titan make the mediums last? We expect to see the Alfa Romeo in later in this race, but it'll be, can he make them last long enough to go on to the softs until the end? And likewise, can JG make his hards last long enough to last the whole race, or will he have to pit as well? Because I have a sneaky feeling that the cars behind of Arrow and Mallard may look to take their tyres the entire race distance here. You know, they're only 5 laps old. It'll mean they'll be about 17, 18 laps old by the end of this race. That's definitely doable on a set of hards. So if they can keep within a pit stop window of the guys ahead of them, then surely they're going to stand a good chance of getting a good finish here.
All right, I've got that replay queued up of divisions incident since we got a little lull in the race here. I'm transitioning over to the silliness that this was.
Yeah, we'll take a look at that incident, and then I think the next battle that'll hot up afterwards will be Conley versus the Aston Martin.
You can see
You
there,
see there,
just a
division.
subtlest wheel spin on the exit, and the car, the rear end just comes around and just drives him straight into the corner.
Yeah.
Hate to see
For some
it.
reason, it's super zoomed in for the stream. I'm not sure why that is. why it's doing that, but we're still able to see the key parts of it. But yeah, the main on-track battle at the moment, I think, is about to be between the McLaren of Craig Conley and the Aston Martin of Michael Louis, fighting over P6. At the moment, Craig's done a good job of catching up to Michael, but he's just made a mistake at the end of sector 2, start of sector 3 there, and it has cost him quite a bit. Gap up to 1.5 seconds now. But he was almost within DRS at one point.
He's driving
All the
really
gaps at the
lazy.
moment sitting around 2 seconds.
You can see the wheel slip on Conley there as he comes out of turn 1. I think traction a big issue for everybody here today.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I am also keeping an eye on at the moment is Ollie's progress. He is on that he's on the freshest set of hards out of all the hard tire runners in P8 at the moment. It's worth noting that he is 20 under 20. Oh,
Oh,
Cronley
Craig's had
loses
a
it
big
again.
whip. Oh, he keeps it out of the wall. Ollie's behind him.
Yeah, he's gonna have to try and do a 3-point turn here in the middle of the track to get going again. The safety car not being called out for this one, just so you localized yellow. But unfortunate there for Craig Conley, slips himself back down into P8. But importantly, he is still running, and that is the key thing at the moment. Because as we've seen, 4 drivers out so far at the halfway stage of this race. It's still going to be good points just for finishing this race.
You got to say, that was some tremendous driving there by Conley to keep that car out of the wall. Big whip, narrow road. He was able to keep the car clear of the walls. Fortunate lapse in either traction or concentration, but he did do a good job of keeping that car in one piece.
Yeah, got to agree with you on that one. But as we were saying before that about Ollie, now up into P7, he is 22 seconds off the leader at the moment, which is his teammate JG. And I'm not sure of the exact time lost by a pit stop at Baku, but I'd have to guess it would probably be about the 22-25 second window, somewhere around there, which means he is probably right on the cusp at the moment of being in a net P1 if everyone ahead of him was to pit, which you have to say you'd be expecting at least half the drivers ahead of him to pit. Certainly Michael Louis, Dubsy and Ultra Titan you'd expect to make another pit stop before the end of this race, given they are on medium or soft tyres. But yeah, I'll keep an eye on the gap between himself and his teammate out the front and see if that comes down at all, and yeah, let you know about that one. But yeah, Ollie, don't write him off just yet. This strategy that, admittedly, I did mock it earlier, is a bit of a confusing one. It may play back into his hands later on in this race, depending on the strategies of the other drivers ahead of him.
Yeah, Conley hits the pits after that little slip in sector 2. He's gone back to the mediums, fresh set of mediums. He went 8 laps on the previous ones.
Yeah, I don't feel like that was due to the degradation on the tyres, but second set of mediums to Craig. He doesn't need to pit again. He used hards at the start of the race, so he can go to the end if he wants to, and I'd imagine a set of mediums should be able to last 12 laps, but I have a feeling for Conley to make up many more positions, he'll be relying on another safety car in this race. The closest on-track battle at the moment looks to be between Arrow and Titan, but no one within DRS of one another at the moment. It's a bit of a procession going around. Everyone with a couple of seconds to the guys around them. But I think it's at this point we will see Arrow start to close up on that Alfa Romeo of Ultra Titan, because 11 lap old mediums, they will start going off sooner rather than later. Won't be surprised to see Titan coming in soon. And here's the important bit of information for the Alfa Romeo. Michael Louis into the pits on what were 7 lap old softs. They just ticked over into their 8th lap as he crossed the timing beam whilst in the pit lanes. The softs lasting 7 or 8 laps means that Ultra Titan really is going to be wanting to go, what, another 3 or 4 laps before pitting himself.
Yeah, I think
Uh,
that's a fair shout.
so that's the window to note is going to be about lap 17 to 18 for soft tyres if you go pit and make a stop onto the fastest compound. And well, so far, I'd have to say this race is playing. The more it goes on, the more it plays into the hands of these two Ferrari drivers on 8-lap-old hards. They should last to the end. They'll only be about 18 laps old. They won't have the greatest pace, admittedly, but they are, they should last until the end. Much more so in comparison to our leader JG, who's on 11-lap-old mediums. Right now, only 5 laps until the sorry, only 5 seconds between Arrow in third, JG in the lead. So JG will really have his work cut out if he is to pit in this race again to try and catch up those Ferrari guys.
Yeah, I think it's going to be tough. If he goes to the softs, he might have a chance, but he's really going to have to push the car.
Yeah, it will
We
have to
see
be an
someone in the
impressive final
pits. That's going
stint
to be
for him.
Mallard in the pits.
Ooh,
Going
keep an
for
eye
the
on that.
undercut.
See if there's a wing change or anything. There is a
It's a
wing
wing
change, so I wonder if Mallard's been in the walls a little bit. As we also see Dub Z into the pit lane. So Mallard strapping on a set of mediums, fresh mediums to him, importantly, and also a wing change for Dubsy. So he's tapped the wall at some point, and he also straps on a fresh set of mediums. So this race providing more and more drama as it goes on with drivers. Just it's about that consistency, like we said earlier. And yeah, Dubsy back out in P7 on a fresh set of mediums that will last him until the end. But obviously, both drivers there deciding that the damage was too big of a risk to continue a couple more laps to where the softs would have lasted until the end of the race. They'd rather be back out on a set of mediums with a completely repaired front wing. But yeah, that definitely plays into the hands of JG, though. We were saying that the Ferrari drivers on those hard tyres may be able to last until the end of the race. Well, one of them has now pitted, so that gives JG a little more of a cushion here. And if he was to pit at this moment, I'd be saying he'd be coming back out behind his teammate in P4 right now, whereas Titan would have a bit of a close one, but I think he'd be coming out behind Ollie as well, but ahead of Mallard. So be interesting to see how these strategies play out over the final 10 laps.
Ultra in the pits.
Titan calling it first, perhaps maybe looking to get the undercut on the Mercedes of JG if he is to pit. You see him here pulling into his box and strapping on another set of mediums.
Interesting choice.
Yeah, interesting strategy there from the Alfa Romeo driver. Maybe not having that sort of faith in the softs to keep their pace until the end, and he comes out in P4 like we predicted. Mallard back into the pits, actually. With more front wing damage on his car as well. He's going to serve that front wing. You can see the front right end plate was missing, so Mallard straps on a set of softs. This is probably going to promote Craig Conley up a place into P7, but yeah, unfortunate there for the Ferrari. Mallard could have been looking at a podium. Now he's looking at the moment at 8th place on the grid.
All right, Ultra Titans reeling in Ollie here, second and a half back, closing in on the castle section now.
Yeah, I'm keeping an eye on the gap between Ultra Titan and JG because he is the other man that we're suspecting may want to pit in this race. He's on 13 lap old hards at the moment and we're on lap 17, so those are going to be 23 laps old by the end of this race. It'll be a monumental effort from the Mercedes man if he is to take those all the way to the end. It is doable and he does have a nearly 6-second gap to Arrow in second place, but he's certainly getting in a position where if he is going to pit, he wants to do so sooner rather than later, probably within the next few laps. If he's going to stand any chance of clawing that time back to Arrow in the Mercedes. And right now, Ultra Titan is 20 seconds off the lead, so you'd have to say he'd probably come out behind the Alfa Romeo at this point.
He's in the DRS of Ollie now. He's trying to reel him in before the corner. I don't think he's going to have enough time, but he's definitely closed the gap to him.
Yeah, I suspect we're going to see a move into turn 3 on the next DRS straight because, as you say, he is right up the chuff of that Mercedes driver. Only a couple of attempts back. He has the DRS for a second straight in a
There he
row,
goes
uses a
down the
bit of
left side.
overtake, and the move is simple. It's done before he's even halfway down the straight there. Ultra Titan back up onto the podium position in P3, and he'll look to try and close up the gap to Arrow. He's got 12.5 seconds to the lead Ferrari. And well, he's got 8 laps to do it. So if he can gain a second and a bit every lap, Ultra Titan could well do it. But it's going to take some hell of a stint here.
Yep, slow, smooth, smooth as fast. He's gonna have to concentrate and just run his race, not worry about closing the gap. Just focus on making the corners, hitting the apexes, and that should come to him. We'll have to wait and see how it pans out.
Yeah, and you've got to predict that the race will come to him, even if he just takes it steady. Because Arrow is on 11 lap old hards. They still won't be in top condition come the end of the race. You know, they're going to be about 18 laps old at the end, which is towards the top end of what the hards can do around this circuit typically. So he's uh he's not going to have the same sort of pace of Titan. And you can see already the gap down to 10.5 seconds. He is gaining very quickly here. Titan really pushing at the moment. And I think Arrow maybe actually having a bit of a slower lap this time around because he's lost about a second to JG on that lap as well. So
Yeah, I think those
uh,
tires are starting to go.
can you imagine what the state JGs are in there if that is the case? Because as you see, Titan's setting a fastest lap there, 1:44.9, so he is reeling that gap in. But JG's on 3 lap older hards than Arrow, so God knows what state they're going to be in if Arrow is struggling with his tyre life.
Yeah, I think the big difference here is JG's not under pressure. JG's outrunning this race, taking good clean air. I think that's going to give him a slightly more advantage on tire life. He's not having to battle anybody. Arrow is doing a little bit of battling on those tires early on in the stint.
Yeah, as you see, Mallard setting a fastest lap now, 1:44.7. He's up in P7 at the moment. He has made a move in the last lap or so on Craig Conley for that position. And he's on the softs at the moment, going to take them to the end of the race, and we'll see if he can make any further progress from P7. Elsewhere on the track, we actually have a bit of a battle going on that you're seeing at the moment between Dub Z and Michael Louis, both on fresh enough mediums. 4 lap old for Michael Louis, 3 lap old for Dub Z as they come through sets 2 at the moment. That gap between the two of them is under a second, so Dub Z will be looking to keep that gap coming up to the back end of this lap and maybe make a move later on.
You can see just how tight the turn is there in the castle section. Not a lot of room. You almost have to drive straight through the corner. It leaves just a few inches on either side of the nose cone to make it through that S curve. It's takes some nerves.
Yeah. We'll keep on watching this battle at the moment. It's ebbing and flowing the gap. It's about a second at the moment. Dubsy clearly has a more top speed related setup by the looks of it. So you can see how much he gained on just that short run down from turn 15 to 16, the run down the hill there. He gained about a tenth of a second. I'm not sure if he's going to get DRS though on this time around. I think he was just outside the second. Yes, he was. So no DRS for the AlphaTauri this time around, but he's certainly got the Aston Martin in his sights. And I think I did also, yes I did, I caught a glimpse as you see Michael Louis going a bit deep into turn 1. That red light is flashing on the back of the Aston Martin. He has a lot less battery available to him in comparison, and well, Dubsy here with DRS. He's going to close up to the back. I don't expect to move this time around, but he'll be seeing that flashing red light and rubbing his hands together. He knows he has the battery advantage. He knows he has a slight tyre advantage. And he'll be wanting to get that move done sooner rather than later.
Yeah, you just got to play the smart move here. Don't try to overtake in a spot that could cause an incident. Wait till you get that DRS on the backside and then make a textbook. Just slip through.
Yeah. It's all about patience when it comes to overtaking around Baku. As I was certainly on the receiving end of a lack of patience in Tier 2 last week. But yeah, well, Dubsy is certainly one of the smarter drivers on the grid in terms of his racecraft when it comes of when to battle and when not to. So I'm sure we'll see him make a smart choice here. Worth noting as well, look at that gap between P2 and P3 at the moment. Titan under 4 seconds behind Arrow. He is closing and closing fast. And any call that we were thinking of JG making a pit stop before this end of the race, he simply can't anymore. He just does not have the time in hand to be able to make a pit stop and get back out in a good position here. So I think your early prediction of Titan potentially being the man to watch here could come true, certainly for P2 at least in this one.
Alright, here comes Dub Z. He's got the DRS. Should be a pretty easy overtake. He's going to go down the inside, just tap the battery a bit to get through.
Yeah, moves back across, gets back on the racing line, gets that P5, and a very smartly executed move there from the AlphaTauri man. Now is the question though, can Michael Lewis respond on the very next straight? He will have the DRS this time around. He doesn't really have the battery. And I think he's going to be a bit too far back this time around, and indeed he is. Dubsy defending the position. He'll look to try and open up that gap as much as he can, but if you're Michael Louis for the rest of this, I think he needs to not battle just yet. He needs to try and stay in that DRS for as long as possible, save the battery as much as possible in doing so, and go for a move later on in this race, I think.
Yeah, I think that's a smart move, GB. He's got to get that battery charged back up so he can be in contention down that big long straight.
Yeah, it's because looking at between the two drivers, there's a big difference between the battery levels between the two of them. And I say, if he taps the inside wall, Michael Louis at the castle section loses a whole chunk of time there. And that is him outside of the DRS, and all of a sudden that strategy that we were just discussing has sort of gone out of the window there. He'll be hoping for a mistake from Dubsy in order to catch that gap back up, but luckily no damage on the Aston Martin as we ride on board it.
Under a second, got the DRS. He's closing the gap. Should see a move in the second DRS section here.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised about that whatsoever. Arrow's certainly struggling on the hards a lot more as we see a virtual safety car is out. No one is out of the race, so that must be for damage on the track. I'm cycling through the drivers at the moment, try to see if there is any damage.
Conley's got both his end plates. Mallard is missing the whole nose cone. Big crash.
So it's Mallard who's caused the virtual safety car there. Dubsy, I was watching Dubsy going down the main straight. He was tempting Michael Louis to try and dive into the pits there. He was riding as though he was going to head into the pit lane, and then at the last minute, diving out of it. But Michael Louis not falling for it as his VSC ends. I tell you who that has really badly affected there. It is Ultra Titan. He's missed out on that opportunity down into turn 3 to make the overtake, and now he's going to have to sit behind Arrow for about half a lap before another clear-cut overtaking opportunity becomes available, and that is really going to hurt his chances as you see them through the castle section there, just how close to Arrow's rear end he is. He's really got way more pace than that Ferrari ahead of him at the moment, and it's just hurting any chance that he had of closing up to JG and battling for the lead here. The gap about 12 seconds at the moment from this battle for second to our race leader, but Titan right up the back of the Ferrari, jinx one way to the left, thinking about maybe making a move there or just scaring Arrow into the braking zone. Doesn't work out for him, but here we are coming through turns 18 and 19. He's right at the rear end, and this is going to be probably one of the most simple overtakes you'll see all season. He'll get the DRS in a few seconds. He's always making the move before the DRS line. Opens a little gap in the rear ring, and well, he is well and truly past there, and Arrow drops down to third place. So let's see what progress time can make. He's got 4 laps, 12 seconds. I think the win's a bit far out of reach, but you never know. If JG makes a mistake, he could be right there.
I think the VSC really benefited JG there because he was able to put up 2 seconds during the VSC due to those deltas.
Yeah, JG, like we said before, it really hurt Ultra Titan there because he was sizing up a move down into turn 3 as that safety car was called out, and obviously he wasn't able to make that move due to the virtual safety car, and that's just meant that he's had to spend half a lap behind Arrow rather than being able to attack. And you can see on this lap, he's gained a second already on JG, and that's in just one sector of the lap. So just imagine the time he would have been able to catch had he not been stuck behind Arrow for about half that lap.
Yeah, it's really detrimental to his chances of taking the top spot there. He's taking a little time out of JG, but I don't think it's going to be enough. He's really going to have to to push.
It's going to have to be one. It's arguably going to have to be one of Titan's best drives, I'd say, if he does manage to pull it off, because that is one hell of a gap. But he is closing it. It's down to 10 seconds now. He's gained about 2 seconds on this lap, so keep an eye on that for sure as this race goes on. Arrow also dropping back. He's now 2.5 seconds further behind Ultra Titan in just the second sector alone. So you can just see how much more life those mediums have in them in comparison to the hard tyres. But Titan is catching. He's certainly catching that gap. They're just dipped under 10 seconds. Don't say it's over just yet. We have 3 laps left, but you never know, because those hard tyres, they're 20 laps old on the Mercedes. They've got to be screaming at this point. Whereas those mediums, 7 laps old, they are at prime condition.
Yeah, you can see as
Crazy.
JG goes to make the turn at 3, you can see the Alfa Romeo come flying around turn 2 in the background. He's really pushing.
Yeah, crazier things have certainly happened, and all it takes is potentially one mistake from the Mercedes as well, either whether that be running into a wall and getting some damage, or picking up a penalty, or even just going a bit deep into the corner and losing a few tenths of a second. It could turn this battle on its head. You see out of turn 6 there at the start of sets 2, Titan gained so much time, again half a second on that straight alone, so definitely working these tyres back. The longer this goes on, I think the more you have to say it's going to be too little and too late for the Alfa Romeo. It's only come down by a second so far this lap. It's going to be a tough one.
Yeah, we see Mallard get the fast lap there.
What I will say is I won't be surprised if we see a couple of drivers late on in this race maybe pit on the end of this lap, on the end of lap 24 for a set of softs. We won't see our top 3 doing that because they don't have the time behind them, but I won't be surprised if we potentially see Ollie dive into the pits. He has 21 seconds back to Dubsy, who's on a set of mediums, and yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we see that second Mercedes driver into the pits to try and take that fastest lap 2 points away from Mallard in the second Ferrari, who currently holds it.
All right, lap 25. He's 8.7 seconds back on the race leader.
Yeah, and Ollie doesn't pit, so we won't be seeing that second Mercedes go for the fastest lap. I think that's a strategic blunder there from Mercedes myself. I think he had the time to Dubsy. He's got 22 seconds back. I think he had time to come in, strap in a set of softs and steal that fastest lap point away from one of their rivals in the constructors' standings at the moment. Ferrari are a bit further back compared to them, but still, it's taking points off a rival. It could have been useful, but Ollie deciding against it, stays out, and he seems quite content to pick up this P4 today.
You can see JG really babying it through the corners there in the castle. He knows those tires aren't great, so he's trying to take it nice and easy through those. I think that's what
you
we're
watch
seeing
it.
catch those times. But
yeah, I just watched Titan through the castle section there while you were watching JG, and the difference between the two of them, JG feathering it through that section, because of the nature of how tight it is and how old those tyres are, whereas Titan just throwing it through. Sure, not quite on quali lap pace, but still able to just throw his car through the corners. But I think at this point we do have to say it's perhaps too little too late for the Alfa Romeo. I don't think the virtual safety car will be the thing to cost him in the end either, because it's still a 7-second gap he's got going on to this final lap. I think it would have been just a little bit too much as we see a yellow flag in Sector 1, and it's Mallard who's had to take to the escape road again at turn 3. And he gets himself going. He's in P8. It hasn't affected him position-wise, but yeah, taken to the escape road once again in the Ferrari. But yeah, I think JG's got this one wrapped up. He's even got a little bit of ERS he's being able to dump on this lap as well. He's saved it up smartly, just in case that Alfa Romeo did catch him. He hasn't quite done that, and Mercedes and JG picking up the perfect result for him, it's fair to say. He didn't get the 2 points for the pole position. It doesn't look like he's going to get the 2 extra points to fastest lap, but he is going to pick up 30 points that does keep him in the fight for, well, technically in the title fight, even though he still will be a long way off Cookie out at the top. But more importantly, it closes his gap massively to Luxury in P2. JG will come out this weekend on 246 points. That'll be 32 points behind Luxury with 4 rounds of the season left to go. So is all to play for in that battle for P2 at the moment. Cookie still a long way out front, still over 100 points clear of JG and a whole 97 points clear, I believe, of Luxury at the moment. So Cookie looks like he's got this one wrapped up. I believe he could even win the title next time out at,
Michael Louis
I
has
believe...
lost it in the same spot that Conley spun earlier. Not as lucky, though. Big impact into the wall, loses the nose cone.
Yeah, I reckon we might see Craig Conley getting P6 on this lap, but more importantly, at the moment, JG coming up to the line. He's done it and done it in style. JG wins at Baku by about 5 seconds from Ultra Titan, who crosses the line for a brilliant P2 there. And we have to wait a little bit for Arrow, who's going to take the 3rd spot on the podium there for Ferrari. So 3 different constructors on the podium today. Ollie taking P4 in the 2nd Mercedes. A really strong showing from them here today, racking up a whole load of points to help them in the constructors title. We'll try and work out for you actually if they do overtake Red Bull after this race.
We got Dub Z rolling in, hanging it out there today. Ends up with a P5. Good result for Dub Z.
Yeah, now the battle to watch is down this main straight. Can Craig Conley close a 7/10 gap to Michael Louis? I think Michael Louis might just survive here. He does have the DRS, he does have overtake Craig Conley, but Michael Louis in the Aston Martin hangs on to P6. Craig Conley across the line in P7, and it will be Mallard in the 2nd Ferrari coming home in P8. An unfortunate day of what could have been, I think, for Mallard, but a few too many errors have cost him a shot at the podium. But still a strong points finish here, and his battle with his teammate rages on this season. They're still super close to each other in this title fight. And here he comes, crossing the line. P8 for Mallard here at Baku.
He slams it into the wall. Massive crash. So frustration. Not the first time he's hit the wall today. Definitely the last one for this race.
Getting that P8 in, certainly in some sort of style, it's fair to say there. But your driver of the day today being given to Dub Z for a fantastic drive through the field and getting himself a very strong finish in the end there of P5. But your winner, JG, with Ultra Titan and Arrow joining him on the podium. We'll get them in the pipe for some interviews momentarily.
Yeah, and got to give it to Zamp on the race prediction. Good shout. He nailed it right on the head. Fast lap's going to go to Mallard with a 1:43.7. And great race today. I mean, even with a short grid, a lot of action. We had a little back and forth there. Not a lot of incidences today. A couple of warnings. We had our 4 terminal damages, so not a lot to report there. Dub Z with a lot of tire changes. Soft, medium, soft, hard, soft, medium. It still makes it into P5. I'm sorry, that was Michael Louis. Michael Louis. Soft, medium, soft, hard, soft, medium. Using all the compounds today. Stay tuned, we're going to get interviews going here.
Yeah, we've given the invites to our podium sitters as well as Dub Z for driver of the day. So, yeah, dramatic ending to that race for sure.
Yeah, I think a few more laps left in that race and we see a battle. 28 laps and that's a fight to the finish, I think. 26 was just not enough for time to close the gap.
Just trying to quickly work out constructor soil unless Arrow beats me to it, which he no doubt will. But I think we've got everyone in the pie. Who are we missing? Just Arrow.
Ultra. Is Ultra it?
Oh yeah. So get Ultra another invite as well. But while we wait for them, we'll start off with JG. It's a win at Baku, and you've done it in style there. It's safe to say the gamble on the hard's paying off for you. Just talk us through that race. How difficult was it making those hards last 23 laps?
Yeah, it was very hard. I think I was on like 73% at the end on that last lap. What is the puncture range? Is this?
I think because we're on reduced, it's 90 or 85.
Oh, okay. So I wasn't anywhere near a puncture.
Yeah, but your tires would have dropped off.
Then. Yeah. So there was a lot of safety cars at the start, which was annoying. Just tried to manage that pit in the right one. Then just to be honest, it wasn't much skill. I just burnt my ERS after one of the restarts where Ollie let me through to try get ahead and out of the RS range of Ultra, and then some laps tried to fuel save and tyre save, and yeah, by the end I won. Yeah, come on, love it, very happy. Probably didn't explain it well, but yeah, come on, let's go.
Yeah, fantastic performance there, and it helps you close that gap on a luxury in the battle for P2 in the driver's standings as well, and escape Ultra Titan slightly as well. So, good day for you in the title.
GG's, brothers. GG's.
Titan, we'll come to you. P2 today from P. What was it? Was it P2 on the grid as well?
Oh, I did what Ollie did. I did the same.
So, strong finish for you. Do you feel like that virtual safety car cost you, or was it going to be too big of a gap?
A little bit. Arrow was taking his time under it, so it would have helped if he wasn't 4 seconds behind it. But, I don't really mind. My second stint, first one on the mediums, was tough because the rears were graining a lot. So JD was disappearing because my rears are still sliding. And then I just had to accept that the tyres weren't going to last that well. And when I got onto the second set of mediums, I knew I just wasn't going to push a single lap. I just needed to save the tyres and make sure that they had pace until the end. And I did so well, so I'm quite happy with that.
Yeah, it's a very strong finish for you. You do lose a little bit of ground, obviously, with JG winning it in that fight with him in the drivers, but both of you have made big inroads on luxury, so it's certainly a strong weekend for you there.
Thank you, man.
And you survived, which is like an accomplishment in itself for this track today.
Yes, I almost Leclerc.
We were watching you through the castle section, getting closer and closer to the wall in that final stint. I was hoping you weren't going to brush it whatsoever.
No, I still had a couple inches of room.
And we'll move on to, Arrow, isn't it? So Arrow P3. Was there a point that you were thinking that maybe the win was sort of in the bag, thinking that the two ahead of you were going to pit?
No, never. I was like, JG's definitely going to the end. So then once that second safety car came out, I was like, I'm just going to go with the same strategy, hards to the end. I was kind of expecting another safety car around like after lap 16, but then it never really came. But I was like, I just need to get to the end here, and I knew Ultra was going to be quick, so I just let him through. And then I was more worried about Ollie, so I was just protecting my tyres to the end. And here we go, first podium of the season.
Come on.
Let's go. And JG's on a fucking roll with, is it 3 in a row?
No. Only 2, and it's because Luxury and Cookie on here, so...
No, but was it 3 in a row?
That
wins?
That's 2 in a row, That's 2 in a row for
JG,
but it's third of the season.
Mexico.
It's third in 5, so he's on a roll.
Mexico.
Right.
And I think you're updating the standings as you speak. I was trying to work out as well, and it was I saw the numbers were changing in front of my eyes.
Jumping about the place, I'll get it done literally in a second because I'm just adding people now.
No problemo. Yeah, we'll have a look at the standings because I don't think that Cookie's won it yet. I think it's still going on because it's 25 for the win.
Mm-hmm.
And then two for pole and 2 for fastest laps.
And there's also the sprint at the end as well, last race.
Right? Yeah, so that's 12 more
10?
points.
Oh, 12.
Fastest lap, 2 points.
Yes, so there's a possible 128 points if you win every race, get pole in every race, and fastest lap in every race. And he is currently 93 93. Yeah, 93 ahead of Luxury, so he's not quite
Jesus.
won it, but next time out at Vegas, he could potentially, I want to say, if he wins everything and Luxury doesn't get anything. What I will say, though, is it is a two-man fight for the title. Fortunately,
It is, yeah.
despite your best efforts today, JG, it's
Yeah,
2
yeah.
points too far away now. So it is
Be good.
it's a two-man fight between Cookie and Luxury, and I have a feeling we already know who's going to win it, given the big gap there. But let's pretend that it's a two-man fight for the title. It's still raging on.
All right. Don't forget Dub Z, driver of the day.
Yes, surviving.
Brother Dub putting it down, had a good little battle there. We saw an overtake. Drove the AlphaTauri well today. Tell us a little bit about it.
Kept it out of the wall and kept it away from everyone. Went for a car ride. It was a fun afternoon.
Oh, we like to
Can't
see
remember the last. I think it's the first time I've ever had a top 10 in Tier 1, and it ends up being a P5. So we'll sleep with a smile on our face tonight. Thanks to everyone that binned it. I'm taking it.
Well deserved. Now, you had a good run there today. Baku's always notorious for being a treacherous track, and you whooped its ass today. Congratulations on driving
Thanks, buddy.
the honor.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, and you're not wrong. It is your first, not only your first top 10, obviously your first top 5 as well. So you've done it in style.
Yes,
Fourth.
we'll take it.
So it lifts you up in the standings a little bit as well for a bonus.
All right, next
Appreciate it.
Sunday we are back here for Las Vegas. Another trip to the States. So you boys make sure you're practicing the right track. Vegas is up next.
And if you do retire, make sure you've also practiced your blackjack game or poker face as well, just in case.
We'll bring a few
Beautiful.
extra
Have a great week,
coins.
guys.
The drinks are more expensive on race weekend. Cheers, guys. We'll catch you next Sunday at Vegas. This is Tier 1. We have fun F1. We're out.